Today, I'd like to start with the movies section. I watched both Coolie and War 2, and to my utter disappointment, both movies were like pretty bad. Not pretty bad. One was absolutely awful, the other one was slightly less awful than the other one. So, yeah, I wanted to share my thoughts, like not in a condescending way that says that I am like uh, an expert in cinema and I'm trying to tell the creator or the makers of the movie how they should make it, but more from a fan perspective where there was no respect to the viewer. To be honest, uh, I think there was a lot of potential for both the stories or the movies to take the film to a greater level or an extent, but to be honest, both the directors or the complete writing and story department, they failed emphatically because there was not much depth in whatever they've written, and it's kind of disappointing to see a lot of or heaps and loads of talent and stardom in the movies, and they are practically doing nothing because the story doesn't have enough depth in it. The creators or the makers had to rely on extensive CGI works sometimes. I think I'm here talking about War 2, where there are loads of scenes where both the protagonists are just fighting, and it was, I don't know, it's very funny. The movie, half the time I was laughing because there was no point to so many things. Even if you shut off your brain, which you normally should for commercial movies, even if you shut it off, it feels like, oh no, they've fucked it up badly, and it kind of really reflects on how bad it is. I mean, you just can't find out a way to like the movie because here I'm talking about extensively about War because I had expectations. I mean, not too much because I haven't watched the first War, and I was like, okay, Hrithik Roshan and Junior NTR, they should be good because both are extremely capable actors who can pull off great works, great piece of acting and stuff like that. But this was like an epic failure. Uh, I think for the initial part of whatever introduction that they've written for Junior NTR, it was utterly disappointing and foolish. The background sounds, I don't know, since he's called the young tiger here, and I don't know what they thought to add the tiger sounds, and I don't know, like um, there's no point for showing them in that way. Like, you basically hype them up and then you try to replicate that with the action scenes to justify the hyped up dialogues, and then you have to move to some other set piece where again you hype up with the, like, nobody can defeat him and there's only one guy who can defeat this guy, and you bring both of them in front of each other and they start fighting, and I don't know, it's bad. Like, there's no conviction in the writing, there's nothing solid in the writing to push both the actors to an extent where they both can perform at the highest level, but this is more like a comedic stuff, just purely to milk the audience based on their stardom, because both the actors have huge following, and I don't know how the fans felt, but as a neutral person watching the movie, watching these two stars going on about it, I think it was really disappointing. And coming to Coolie as well, like, this is a Rajini movie that I watched after a long time, and there was a lot of hype as usual because it was directed by Lokesh Kanagaraj, and he's like the informed director who's doing these great action movies with all the big stars, and uh, that was also like pretty disappointing because there was not much meat in the story. Even when there was, like, it has been what do you say, it's been muddled with a lot of a lot of action, sometimes unnecessary action. And there are so many characters, one from Telugu, one from Tamil, one from Malayalam. You want so many people on the stage, and but there's nothing they could do for a longer time. And maybe this is like a fanboy moment for Lokesh, and he wanted to try and do something for Rajni, but it didn't really reciprocate. I mean, it didn't really reflect on the screen. I don't know if anybody has watched both the movies, and if you have any ideas, please share it so that we can talk about it. Personally, I didn't like both the movies, as like the hype they had and the performances that were expected, and whatever we saw was like utter bullshit. So I'm sorry, like I'm talking like a typical reviewer guy, but yeah, probably half the people who watched might understand where all of this is coming from, because clearly these are not the movies that we want to watch, especially with the bigger stars. So I think it's high time. I don't know. So if you guys have any thoughts on the movies, we can talk about it.